What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we got a special video with my guy Starsage Galathir, arguably one of the best mythicals, if not the best mythical champion in the entire game. And this is going to be a special video with a nuke version of Galathir. Originally I was going to do a video with the first form, kind of how you use them, the same way Duchess Lilitu is used in the game. And I was going to put out that video first because that's kind of like the more traditional way that everybody decided to use them. And then I was going to put out this video afterwards, but I said, you know what, I'm getting kind of, tired of waiting, and I don't want to wait anymore. So I'm just going to do this video first and do the other video afterwards, and you guys can learn something about Galathir from this video before I make that video. So someone asked me, can Galathir nuke? And the answer to that question is a resounding yes. Now, before I tell you guys what the secret sauce is, you guys hit the subscribe button, you guys hit the like button, you guys leave me a comment down below if you guys like this video. Please share this with others. It would help me a lot. I've been somewhere between 500 and 600 subs for the last couple years now, and I would like to move that number upwards so I can get into these programs. If I get into these programs, I can give you guys better content like this content here. So let's go over the magic, and really, there is no magic. There's one thing to know about Galathir, and that's his base form and his alternative form have the same base stats. They stay the same. So whether you're in this form or the other form, you're going to get 1,000 base attack right there from the start. And that is really the crutch. Like, that's the thing that's hindering Galathir right here to do more damage is the base attack is so low, and the base crit damage is not the traditional nuker crit damage of 63%. But we don't get that 63%. We don't get that really high, say 1,500 to 1,700 base attack like we get with some of the other champions in the game. Now, the first form does have some utility in being able to get you to the second form through the passive. But I want to go over his A1 first, because his A1 in both forms is a 3.5 multiplier on the attack. And that is the same regardless of form, the same way the base stats are the same. Now, the only thing you're going to really use the first form for is going to be the passive. Maybe you get attacked first, and if you do, the passive can kind of keep you alive. You got Eternal Beyonder here, 3-turn cooldown. Passive effect, this champion receives 5% less damage for each 100 res on this champion. Stacks up to 25%, that's resistance. Prevents his champion's death and keeps them alive on 1 HP when receiving fatal damage, then equalizes their HP. The HP level of this champion will be brought up to the average HP level of the team. If you got someone like Stone Skin, it can go up, obviously back up pretty high. That'll keep him alive to get him to second form. Now, in second form, like I said before, we got the first A1 ability, Uncreation Beam. Attacks all enemies, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 10%. Decreases the turn meter of each enemy by an extra 5% if they're under a block active skills, decreased resistance, or stun debuff placed by this champion. That gives you, at level 3, ignore resistance plus 20% as well. Now, this can be bad against Marius, but in the first form, it actually does fill turn meter. This one's decent against Marius. So this one will not trigger Marius's passive, but the other form one will. That's key to note. Now you got the A2 is Eclipse Rend. As I said before, it's going to be a 3.5 multiplier on this one. This one has a 4.5 attack multiplier, which is pretty high. Not the highest in the game, but it is definitely one of the higher ones in the game. So you got Eclipse Rend, 4-turn cooldown, that's 3 turns when booked up, also ignoring resistance plus 20% when booked. Attacks all enemies, before attacking, removes all buffs from all enemies, then places a block active skills debuff for 2 turns. This attack will not trigger counterattacks. Very key for someone like Taras and Marishka teams. Also, this is definitely going to get you sheeped. So this is the one drawback to the Galathir in a nuke form is he will get you sheeped, and he is a Force Affinity champion. So you got to watch out for that. Now, the A3 is one I don't really use too often because the A1 and A2 are basically taking care of business with this form, or the first form too, before you switch. So we don't usually get to Dark Nebula very often, but it's a 4-turn cooldown, places a 50% increased accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns, then places a 50% decreased resistance debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, and a stun debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Ignore resistance plus 20% when booked. Now this one is definitely helpful and useful in some, specific circumstances. And I don't know exactly in my head how you get to the point where you use this, but you would definitely have to go through a couple of attacks usually first before you even get to this far, which is, you know, typically rare because the team I usually use them with is either going to kill you or they're probably going to die shortly after, so you're not going to do a whole lot of getting to the A3. But you get Starlight Reflect passive, which is a lot like a wand in second form, the Wand of Submission. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. The passive effect increases this champion's accuracy equal to 75% of their resistance when placing debuffs or activating instant effects, which plays very well into the first form. So you can build them for resistance and still get your accuracy, which I find to be very valuable. The resistance gives you the decrease, you know, damage mitigation there, so that's very, very nice. The active effect, if an enemy's accuracy is higher than this champion's resistance, has a 50% chance of transferring any fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, stun, or petrification debuffs back to the enemy when placing these debuffs on this champion. So you're not going to get attacked a lot in the nuker form here. So we're going to be nuking from the second form, but we can get there from the first form by doing nukes as well when you use specific champions. He also has the aura increases ally resistance in all battles by 80. But let's get to the arena and show you exactly how you can get this guy to start dropping some bombs for you. And it really is not special. Like I told you before, you just got to get that attack up and you got to get that crit damage up. And then if you want to add some ignore defense effects, we can do that as well. Go hit the arena and show you guys how it works. So the first thing I would understand about Galathir is he's very tanky in his first form, but he's very flimsy and weak in his second form. So you're going to have to be either going first and killing everybody, or you're going to have to do something to protect them, like bring a Necrit or something of that nature, because I find him to be too weak once you go first, like we're going first here. If you're not able to actually go first and wipe out the entire team, you better have some kind of like go second tanky type champions to kind of, you know, help him out through the process here, because otherwise he's going to get wiped out. Now, all we need when we bring Highkeeper Prisma to this team, and he's kind of unique as well. He's kind of like a Necrit. You know, he's a very specific champion that does a very specific thing. When you bring this guy with you, all you need to do is kill one champion, and Galathir is rocking and rolling. Now, my Galathir specifically, you can see his turn meter is almost, you know, seems like it's pretty high, like he's going to get a turn pretty fast. Highkeeper is definitely going to beat him there. But I don't have him built very fast at all. He's very, very slow. Let me go ahead and use the A2, weaken him up, and bam. So you can see he's actually didn't do a lot of damage because Armands did so much to begin with here. But typically what's going to happen is I use Armands to use the A3 so I can remove the buffs off somebody. And you got to get some buffs off at least one of them, and then rock them with the Galathir, and then we're rocking and rolling into the second form. All right, so I'm going to show you guys exactly how you get Galathir to work with Mariska here when you pair him with the Highkeeper Prisma, because this is going to be like a very special pairing. As long as we get the first turn here, we're going to be able to show you how this works. All right, here we go. So we're going to get the increased attack. We need to remove that stone skin. So let's go ahead and take care of, you know, a champion that we don't like. Don't like that guy specifically. Lord Entertainer Fabian, whatever his name is. So we're going to go ahead and hit the Mariska here. Now we rock somebody there. Doesn't matter if we rock at least one. We just have to rock one. But since we rocked Mariska, it brought them all back. And since Highkeeper Prisma, when you kill somebody with his A2, will give that champion a free turn, automatic turn. We don't have to build our Starsage very speedy at all, because as long as he's doing enough damage, and also when we build him less speed, we can deal more damage. So as long as we're dealing the damage, we come out here, we rock somebody, we're getting our turn. So this is a very special pairing. If you got the Highkeeper Prisma, go ahead and definitely use these guys together, because the Highkeeper definitely increases his damage on the A1. That's for sure. But as you can see, his A2 in the second form does a lot of damage. It is not holding back at all. It can definitely rock him. So you don't need all that, I think it's like 35% ignore defense that he gives you with the A1. You don't need that. The A2 rocks him as long as you got your own, you know, ignore defense effects. So we'll go over that as well. Let's go and get into the next fight. It is very easy to pick on weak champions, like you got the Monkey King here. And as long as we get that first turn, these guys should be taking some significant damage. Go ahead and do increase attack. Go ahead and remove that buff. Get rid of it. A2 UDK. Rock him. Dock him. And then technically, we could probably just finish him off with an A1 right there from the first form. Not have to go into the second form and an A2, but let's go ahead and do that anyways. 184,000. No one's surviving that. So if you think like Galathir is just he's just doing something special because of somebody else like Highkeeper Prisma or something, it's not just that. Guy can definitely smack. Like he's laying down some damage. That's against someone who's a support champion who's kind of tanky. Someone like Sun Wukong will not survive. Will not survive. Let's see how well we do it at surviving this onslaught of first hits. We got Mariska, so you know HP burns obviously not gonna do a whole lot, and I don't even know how we got the first turn. That's kind of crazy to me. All right, let's go ahead and do a turn meter boost. Do the A3 to do provokes. All right, we got the Galathir to revive everybody. I don't know how we got first turn, or how we're even getting Galathir to get the first turn. Let's go ahead and steal that stone skin off. Not steal it, but remove it and nuke everybody to death. Boom. And that's why we have basically the sets I have on Galathir and the same blessing right there that we have to finish off those Galathirs and guys like that that don't want to die the first time. So you got Nays, you got Galathirs, a couple champions to do that kind of stuff. Galathir works very well against Sigfriend as well. Remove that block damage off and lay waste to him. I was kind of hoping they'd go first, but they didn't. So, all right, on to the next one. All right, one of the best champions in the game at actually surviving hits and getting to the second turn is Galathir, right? So let's bring a second Galathir, and let's bring UDK, and we'll bring the Duchess herself, and let's see what this Rhodos can do, which is going to be absolutely nothing. All right, first form Galathir is going to be very hard to kill. Now, the first Galathir we have going is more of a support form, kind of like a Duchess here. So we could do the A1, do turn meter boost. We could do A2, get the block debuffs buff on. We could switch forms even. That's usually what I end up doing with this guy. So let me tell you, if you guys aren't building no damage into your Galathir, you're probably not doing it right. And that's why we have two Galathirs, because just in case the first one gets sheeped, let's go ahead and roll it back a second time and see what happens now. Sheepy again. Nope. Absolutely annihilated the Duchess. Rhodos is over here going absolutely crazy. He's flipping out. He did not like getting hit. And look at Galathir over here. He's just like, yeah, so what? So what? And it's a good affinity matchup as well. So we won't use that A3 like I was telling you guys before. We're going to go straight into A1 and just get rid of him. See ya. Go ahead and finish off Medusa over here. Raw law. Or Galathir. Look at that. Boom. See ya. All right. So first form Galathir over here with the whole 1,300 damage. If you don't build no damage into your Galathir, expect your Galathir to have no damage. That's exactly how it's going to work. So you can build them for resistance, accuracy, speed, all kinds of stuff, maybe some HPs, but if you don't put no damage on him, no attack, no crit rate, no crit damage, he will not do any damage. He'll be a wet noodle. But if you do, you can see what can happen here. We can actually, oh, bam, we can slam. These guys were not happy about that. Rhodos flipped out. Duchess went down like a sack of potatoes. Yeah, not a good time for them. Not sure exactly about the team synergy with these guys, but it definitely looks like an interesting team. We got a lot of mythicals here. We got Knaves, top mythical, one of the best in the game. Let's see how we do here. Now, we got Embrus here. Embrus is like, you know, if you kill him in first form, it's nothing, it's whatever. But if he gets a second form, you're going to have to go through that passive. All right, let's go ahead and try to strip that buff off Carnage. Didn't work. See who dies. All right. Did not finish off the Nays there. It's okay. Now we should have got our extra turn. I'm not sure exactly why that went the way it did, but yeah, we should have got our second turn there. Go ahead and try to strip off that buff, and if we don't, we're kind of cooked, huh? Boom, but let's go. Yeah. Look at that damage there. 611,000. So if they got the HPs for it, you can definitely drop some serious damage in these dudes. That's all Galathir right there. All Galathir. Now, Naze, that's a pretty tough Naze to survive the Blessing. Now, if you put a Slayer set on Galathir and you get that second proc to go off and the first proc killed Naze, he will definitely die from the second hit. He doesn't get that extra turn like that. But what he does do is drop like a sack of potatoes and die. So Slayer set's very good for Galathir. If you guys have that one, you guys can put it on him. It'll take care of Naze, but only when it procs. It has to, kill him first and then proc that second damage, that second AoE, and then it'll take him out before he gets his chance to do his whole passive switch thing where he stays alive on 1 HP. But it definitely gave him his turn before it gave me my instant turn. So you see Prisma there doesn't quite go through the Naze exactly without the Slayer set or the Blessing. You do need that Blessing there. Okay, let's try Amius the Lunar Archon this time. We'll bring Arbiter, we got Marius, we got Cardiel, we got Little Miss Annie, and the star of the show, Starsage Galathir. Now, I have no doubt I'm going to do A2 Marius here, that he's going to be able to compete damage-wise with those other two damage dealers here. Now, Little Miss Annie's going to be very nice for doing the heal reduction debuff. We got Galathir. We can definitely do A1 first form and still do a lot of damage. It's the same exact multiplier for both forms, first form and second form A1. And if we wait for him to do the one attack his A3, it'll swap our forms. He'll swap the buffs, and then we could use Galathir to use his A2 to remove them. But it all kind of depends on the turn meter and how it goes. Now, the turn meter boost from Galathir's A1 is very nice, obviously, and we're doing a significant amount of damage. If my Arbiter, nice, very nice. If my Arbiter had more accuracy, which she doesn't, she'd be able to land that weekend, which she just landed right there a lot more often, which would help us out a lot more. But here we go. Let's go ahead and use the A2, remove those buffs. Boom, what a big hit. Now, the Blessing didn't finish him off, but it was close. The Blessing can finish him off as well. It depends on what the HPs are at. But we don't have to use the A3. We could just use the A2 and finish him off for a 24 turn count, 1 minute, 22 seconds. And look at that. Galathir is the star of the show, doing the majority of the damage. Even with Marius on the team doing the A2, I mean, surprise, surprise. If you guys think that Galathir can't nuke, it's like it's only Highkeeper Prisma, it's something else. Now, he's outperforming Marius on PvE content. He's a champ. Look at that right there. Let's do one more thing before we quit this video and show you the stats. Let's go over the Faction Wars Hard Boss level 21. Now, we're going to avoid using the A2 there. We're going to kind of organically kill him. Just kind of slowly. We want to be able to keep the Highkeeper Prisma A2 for round 2, wave 2 there. But let's go ahead and use the A2 or turn meter boost instead. We'll swap forms. Hopefully lay them all to rest for the first wave. All right, first wave almost all the way down. Go ahead and take out the allele. We do have Wallmaster or Thorion here. You can see is not doing a ton of damage there with the A2 compared to Galathir. So Galathir's out damaging him by a bunch. Like I said, I just want to keep that Highkeeper Prisma A2 for round 2. Because that Shadowkin, I don't think it's Faction Unity Champion, whatever his name is very nasty. So we're going to kind of slowly kill wave 1. We're only at 27 turns. Wish it had gone a tiny bit faster, 28 turns. Here we go with the Shadowkin wave here. I want to get to this one fast. Go ahead and use the Highkeeper Prisma A2 and wipe out the majority of the wave. Let's go ahead and roll the A1 and finish him off. Now we got the boss wave. I'm going to speed this one up. This way you guys can actually see it like fast mode here. And that way it's not like taking forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But you can see that basically you're going to get both Galathirs are very clutch. It's not like I can just use one Galathir and be like, oh yeah, the damaged Galathir is the one who carried me throughout the entire fight. No, the regular Duchess-like Galathir also is a nice carry throughout this fight as well. So both ways, no matter which way you do it, he's pretty nice. But can this guy actually kill the two different, side mobs, and then can they kill the boss with under the 200 turn limit? Basically, is the question, right? And can Galathir do that? The answer is yes. Like, we'll fast forward to the end here, and you guys can see the results. As you guys can see, we just kind of went after the boss, kind of ignored the minions, and did the AoE damage. If they die, they die. If they didn't, they didn't. Here we have Orthorion with 3,681,000 damage, and then Galathir, the DPS version, 12,660,000 damage. The regular version, Galathir, 229,000 damage. Obviously not contributing very much. I'm going to build that Galathir with more damage in the future so he can contribute more. But obviously DPS Galathir is carrying the team here when it comes to the DPS. Although Orthorion is contributing a little bit. And he's got good gear too. He's a Hydra build, basically. Go ahead and check out Galathir's stats now real quick. All right, finally, for the end of the show, we got Galathir here. We're going to go over the stats really fast and go over the masteries and all that good stuff. Now, what I want you guys to know is, before you guys see the stats, you guys go, what? You guys know that basically I've been working with this Galathir since the very beginning. It was probably the second champion I pulled, maybe the third, not sure exactly, but definitely got him very fast. I got him right after I got Garal, and he's definitely been one of my favorite champions to date, for sure. I basically made this form first. I have two Galathirs, so I have more of a Duchess support type as well. But this one was the one I started with mainly right from the start. Now, I've been using him for a long time, and originally I built him like a regular nuker, where he had like around 250 plus speed. He had his attack up, he had his crit damage up, everything was good, solid like that. But as I started to get other champions, and Highkeeper Prisma is one of my newer champions for me, and you guys can check him out in the other video for sure, see how he's built. Once I got that kind of champion and I was able to unlock a certain way to build the Galathir, I kind of switched him up. Like, I think I originally had him in Merciless set, and I was having him probably, like I said, above 250 speed. He was getting his turn fairly quickly, fairly fast. He was doing a lot of damage, and there was nothing really stopping him. But now what I did was, I'll show you guys what I did. I definitely made him slower. So he's down at 176 speed now, which is really crazy. Like I said, your biggest downfall or setback you really got to get over the hump with is the base attack. Having 1,000 base attack is really hard to get his attack up. So I have mine almost at 6,500 at the moment. He's 65, almost, 6,500 HP, 6,500 attack, 3,900 defense, 176 speed, 100% crit rate, 354% crit damage, 290 resistance, and 246 accuracy. Now, I didn't really care to build him so much in the first form, so his resistance is not going to be super high. I didn't care about his accuracy and resistance being 500, 600, 700, plus. It really works quite well exactly where it's at. And if you're only taking out go first teams, like Arbiter teams and stuff like that, they don't really usually have a lot of resistance anyways. If you got Monkey Kings out there, he's getting slapped up. He's going to be getting, not only will he die, but he'll definitely get debuffed if you hit him with the debuff. So you don't have to build this up super high. So what happened was, I had him around 250 plus speed, and his attack was, I want to say about 500 less. It was about 6,000. And his crit damage was somewhere around 320 to 330. So I squeaked out an extra 500 attack and an extra 20 to 30 crit damage just by taking away the speed. So it's a dramatic amount of speed taken away. I took away as much speed as I possibly could, basically, with the set I have and the type of gear I have and I'm working with. So, I could probably get this up higher. I'm imagining that if you guys have a Galathir and you guys got some in-game gear, that your guys' stats are going to look way better than mine. This is probably not even an in-game Galathir. This is probably the tip of the iceberg. But I wanted you guys to let you guys know he can definitely work with a lot of speed. Only because of the circumstances I'm working with my Highkeeper Prisma did I lower the speed down to where it's at. And this is why I was trying to bring a Necrid or something like that. You can bring ally attackers or whatever, just to make sure you get your turn and make sure you're getting your damage in. Because obviously sitting there waiting for your turn and dying is not the way you want it to go. But in first form, In second form, like I said, the stats are identical. In first form, he is a lot tankier and he's going to stay alive a lot easier. So you can survive through some of these, teams like that. Let's go over and go over the stats and the gear. We got a lot of attack percentage, a lot of attack. If I wanted to, let's say you wanted to take away the ability to remove the buffs on the A2 and not get sheeped. Like you didn't build them for no accuracy whatsoever. I think you could like squeeze in a lot of extra attack and a lot of extra crit damage. This is kind of crazy. And I might even like try that in the future. I do have 2 Galathirs, so I can like buff strip with the first one and not have to worry about it with the second one, or maybe you go through some trials and tribulations or whatever. But like you can definitely get this guy's stats even significantly higher than what they are now. This is a Slayer set, so he does get that plus 30% chance to deal additional AoE damage based on damage dealt by AoE skills. It probably limits the stats a little bit by using a set like this because it's a battle pass set. Probably can get the stats a lot higher than something else, but we worked with what we got. We have a little bit of resistance on the gear. We have, again, attack percentage, speed, crit rate. Really wasn't going for speed, but I got whatever speed I got on here because I didn't have, better gear. We got a little bit of crit damage, some defense, HPs, and speed. Probably could find a better shield than that somewhere. But we're probably going for crit damage. Got crit damage as a main stat, but we don't have it on the Ascension stat. Now, I did get attack percentage, and I was like, we could roll that to crit damage, but at the same time, kind of good for him. So if I had more, the soul dust, whatever they're called, chaos dust, I would definitely do that. But at the moment, it's stuck there and staying there for, a good minute. It'll stay there for a little bit. It doesn't really hurt that bad. This shows you we can get his crit damage a lot higher. We do have attack percentage and attack percentage as the main stat and Ascension stat on the chest plate. We got crit rate, speed, HP percentage. Kind of funny because if you want to use him with the neck rate, you want his HPs as low as possible. But at the same time, if you use his first form A2, you want his HPs to be as high as possible. So, it's a little bit of a trade-off there. You can kind of like lower the HPs for sure. So that's why I didn't glyph this one, because I wanted to use him with the neck rit, and keeping his HPs lower is probably the better way to go. And then we have attack percentage as the main stat, and the attack percentage as the Ascension stat on the boots as well. As you guys could see, we could definitely get the stats, a little bit better, but they are what they are. We're working with it. Kind of good. It's working out the way we got it right now, you know what I'm saying? And for the ring, we got attack with attack percentage. Only one roll into that one, unfortunate, but like I said, you work with what you got. We do have crit damage and a crit damage Ascension on the necklace, so that's very nice. It's kind of missing some resistance. That'd be good too. And then we have attack on the banner, and again, we could probably roll that to attack, would be even better than just having that as resistance. So that's a goal to look forward to in the future. We have still can max that out with 1% higher. But it is what it is. A decent set. It's working out pretty well. All right, for the relic, I got the Cat's Gaze. I really couldn't think of a better one for him. It's not the one I was using on him originally because I only have 2. But I did take it off of whoever I had it on before to make this video. Because I'm like, if I'm going to make a video with him, I might as well show off like him to the best of his abilities. So it does have crit damage on it, extra base attack, and wear ignores 10% of the target's defense when attacking enemies with higher max HP. Very nice. Obviously, you got to get his HPs lower because he has pretty high base HP to start with, and you don't want to keep like piling on the HP percentage like I was doing with the Slayer set here. For the gemstones, you get 2 triangle slots here and a circle slot. Triangle ones are some of the best in the game, in my opinion, for nukers, so it's a very nice relic. There are some other relics. We can go over those in a minute. All right, as far as the skills go, I mean, you really don't need any kind of books into them as far as you want to do like extra damage except for the A1. Like I said, I'm not even using the A3, so this typically doesn't even get used very often. This one right here, you're not going to be coming back around to your turn, needing the cooldown reduction, typically anyways. You get the ignore resistance. That's only if you want to actually remove the buffs. Like I said, you could probably strip him of his accuracy and make the sheep not go off. That'd be probably cool too. You can maybe get some extra damage out of it. But the A1 here has extra damage right there. And then you could do the second book there if you want to decrease turn meter. But if they're resisting that, I mean, I'm not sure how that works with Marius. If he resists, does he still do it? But if he doesn't, that works out pretty well. Passive does not need to be booked. For the blessing, I do have Soul Reap. I like this one because it does give you an extra chance to kill a Naze or someone who switches forms like that, or someone who just like doesn't get killed by the initial hit. He does have pretty high multipliers, like on his A2 he's 4.5, his A1's a 3.5, so they are dying pretty easily or taking majority of the damage. This doesn't go off all that much, but when it does, it's pretty helpful. Sometimes it's not. You could definitely switch to some other ones. You could do the Crushing Rend, or, you know, maybe you want to do Polymorph, Brimstone maybe even. I like the one I'm using personally. But you have your options. Nature's Wrath, I suppose, could give you a little bit of extra damage as well, but that's only after you land the A2. Then for the masteries, we have basically traditional masteries when it comes to your standard nukers. We go right down the offense tree with Deadly Precision. We have crit damage here with Keen Strike. We do want to attack usually with full HP because we're going first with my Galathir. Sometimes, you know, this one might come in handy just based off the Highkeeper Prisma usage. You do have Whirlwind of Death here, Single Out, Cycle of Violence, just in case you want to get the A2 to come back a little bit faster. Stoke to Fury. There are occasions where you'll end up with some debuffs on you before you switch to second form. In this case, you get a little bit extra damage. If not, you can get some extra damage right here with Kill Streak. Optional, it's up to you. We got Methodical because we're definitely using the A1. And then we have Helm Smasher for the extra ignore defense. That one's pretty obvious. Tough Skin, Blast Proof. Like I said, pretty standard nuker masteries when you come to the second form, the defense tree. Got Delayed Death here, and then Retribution for just another chance to use that A1 on a counterattack, which is pretty deadly. I mean, if somebody hits you, they don't want to get slapped by that. They'll often die. Obviously, you can just go with whatever masteries you feel like, but these ones are pretty good for me. I like it the way it works out. As far as the relic index goes, let's go over a couple of relics that could be good for them. Obviously, the Wand of Submission is good for just about everybody. I'm going with more nuker type relics with this guy because I don't necessarily need to take a hit, take a CC and survive that, or reflect it back. Aspect of Sarath, same difference. You know, we don't need to use those types. I would definitely go with something more like Gore Crescent here. You could definitely go with Irethi, Coronet. I think originally I had a Malefic Talon on him, so like it wasn't even, I was nuking people just fine with this. Like I did not need a Cat's Gaze in the other videos to do a lot of damage. If you've seen any of my Galathirs nuking in any other videos, or you've been nuked by him, you know, before this video, he was using a Malefic Talon, so it was nothing special. Got the Cat's Gaze, like I said, I find it to be one of the best in the game. Covetous Passion over here could be really good. Get that Shatter buff. I have this one. I was contemplating sticking on him for the video, but I was like, nobody has that one. Might as well use the Cat's Gaze. The Gilded Pinion here, where receives one less damage for each turn of the cooldown on their skills. Because he switches forms and maybe, I don't really, see him surviving and having to go through like hits and going back through the turns too many times anyways. This one could be good though, just in case you were taking damage. I don't know how that would work, but yeah. I mean, he definitely gets a lot of turns on cooldown. Essence Quencher, this one could be good too. You get crit damage, you get attack, you get a little bit extra damage based off the turn meter. The Death Dealer, I mean, this one right here is probably amazing for any nuker. So, I mean, like, if you got that one, I don't know that I'd stick it on Galathir, but I mean, like, you saw what he could do. A man can actually hold his own, so it's not like he completely lost on him, right? We got the Royal Digit here, whereas 20% chance to decrease incoming damage by 10%. He's very tanky. He doesn't really need stuff like this. The attack is a base stat, though, and it does help him. He raises attack up. So that one's kind of good. Drought of Ire, you'd have to get a lot of skills on cooldown to use this, but it does have attack on it. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, I guess. Then we have the Collective. This one, I do not like this one, really. It's not like one of my favorites, but it does have crit damage as a main stat, and it does do more damage, but you will lose all your buffs, whatever buffs you had when you switch forms anyways. Like, you're going to be switching forms, you'll probably lose some buffs, in the process. They'll probably be falling off on your turn. So this one could be good for him for that reason. You got the Hammer of Ending over here with the stun, Perched Shadow. This one's really awesome. I really like this one a lot. Getting extra turns, but the base stats aren't that great. Got the Mind of Marquardt, Torch of Thraldom. You definitely put Galathir on an all high elf team. It'd be pretty amazing. I'm looking forward to getting Fina and trying him out, to be quite honest. Now, if I have any more recommendations for you guys before I end this video, it's to basically avoid anybody who's weak affinity. You don't want to be slapping these Spirit Affinity champions like Duchess around and just weak hitting all day long. Bad for business. That's really his only drawback. If I was building a regular Galathir, I would definitely include some damage. That's why your Galathir is not hitting and doing any damage whatsoever, is because he has a weak base attack and no crit damage. So if you guys are building a Galathir to go in that second form, swap forms and hit them, you can definitely go with the high resistance, definitely go with the high accuracy. But if you build just a little bit of damage into him, he can actually do quite a bit of, weakening of your opponents down while your damage dealers finish the job. Like, he can definitely supply a little bit of extra damage to your team. He's not just a weak support that does nothing. He is a support who can do some damage, but you have to build it into him. So that's it for today's video. If you guys like this one, please like, comment, subscribe. Please share this with your clanmates. I definitely need to get my subs up. You guys take it easy. Have a great day. Peace.